Gracious good morning to everyone. This is Coach T, Professor Tommy Halstead. I'm so happy to have you all here. Thank you so much, first of all, for joining us on giving some time on your Saturday morning. I certainly don't expect not to hear children in the background, animals, chickens, whatever you want. You're going to hear that here. It's Saturday, so very informal. The purpose of today's meeting is to run us through. I have it open join, so people will be probably joining all along. I'm also recording it for some folks who can't make it. Alexa, stop. I'm sorry, that's a reminder that I need to start. We'll have a few interruptions like that. Just give a couple minutes to start. I'll give you a little bit of background on what we do on these onboardings. This is our sort of initial take on what the sim is, our simulation for the class. As our capstone class, we have a very good opportunity to actually run a company. And right now, as you look through the syllabus and look through what the course kind of requires and how it's made up and all that, it looks very overwhelming and absolutely daunting. It's all these required readings. There's projects, there's papers, there's deliverables and presentations. Your normal 6 visits, if you're already have many years of working, since it's our capstone class, you're probably very familiar, unless you're a ground student, with having to do participation 6 times a week, supposedly 2 times each 3 days times 2, although we're much more open on this, as you'll find out as we go forward, because of the teams. And then it's like there's also teams, and those are live, and you get together and you arrange meetings and you talk at least a minimum of 5 times, probably more, as you make your decisions for the 5 decisions, starting with topic 3 and going up to 5 decisions in the sim. And before I get started and talk more about how actually the team and the teams make this course a lot easier, you're probably going to be skeptical and say, look, I've been in CLCs before and they're kind of a pain. I mean, I got to get together. You know, I'm working on a 3rd doctorate right now, and I hate it when our professor says, "Oh, I'm going to break into teams." It's like, oh, I don't want to do that, you know. So, and a lot of times, then you're in a CLC, if you hear, gosh, you know, there's four of us or five or six on a team, and two people just don't show up and they don't do any of the work, and it doesn't work that way here at all. It's a whole different experience. When you're done with this sim, you'll find that you can use it on your resume. This sim is used by companies. Actually, American Express executives pay $20,000 each to take this. It's used in postdoctoral work, on theories of competition, etc. So it's really an amazing experience as you go forward. But before we get started, I wanted to, first of all, thanks, Dion, so much for coming. And I want to introduce you to Dion. It's a it's a tradition that when we start these sims, that are best of the best of our previous universe, which is concluding. Jade, we're on Gem Universe, Jade Universe. Dion is our validator for Red Team. Red Team took it away, won the sim, and they're in their final presentations right now. But I just wanted Dion to thank you so much for taking some of your time to just take a couple minutes and connect, not just with everyone here, but the people that are going to watch this later, on kind of the difference between starting out bewildered and saying, what is all this stuff? And now on your final decision, and progress is the whole point of this class. It's not, if you win, if you lose terribly on the sim, you can still get an A in a class, but it is very competitive and it is real. It is real business, as you'll see when you go in. But Dion, just take it away. Give us some of your impressions from the very beginning until now.
No, good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Uh, I have to say, it was definitely an experience, something new. We came into it, like I said, we looked at the screen and had no clue what we were looking at. It was, uh, I guess, initially overwhelming, but as we got into it, we got to understand it a little better. We started off with our first decision had to go off of basic knowledge of what we knew about the vehicles. That we knew nothing about the Sims program. I didn't. But it was good because the team actually has different experiences. So we were able to collaborate and talk about different things. So I have to give a lot of credit to my team because we all took different roles and that actually helped us with our decision making. We bumped heads sometimes, but I think that kind of made it a lot easier. Where I fell short, somebody was able to pick up, and that's kind of how we ran through a lot of our decisions. The first one, so it was a blind guess. We were kind of walking through it. But once we started seeing the feedback, it kind of made things a little bit easier for us to progress going forward. So I think the overall experience was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. And congratulations on taking it all. You're one of the best validators I've had, and you really led your team well. The validator, don't abuse your validator. We have our validators. We have Ileana and we have Jake and Christopher. They're here to work with me to get hints and cheats and tricks and all that stuff, but also you each are the CEO of your own car line of a low cost family image and eco. You'll each be a GM of that, CEO of that car line. You'll come together and meet. But Dion, one thing that it's really important and that people aren't used to yet is the text groups. I've already set up the text groups for the universe, and these are, we're all these. I love these learners. They're all people who are working, have families, active duty military, children. They're really adults who are, a lot of us working. So it's great because we work with each other, but also there's a downside because everybody's really busy. And I try to have a finance person on every team. I think we've got Chris, Jake, and Ileana are all finance or accounting. We also have other accounting and finance people that we try to get because there's a lot of financial aspects to this. But Dion, one other thing is the I want to emphasize I can show you Simtex, but we have a site we'll put on halosimtex.com. Uh, Texting is really important in this class. And
Definitely.
when and just tell us a little about your experience because I've seen you just an amazing in keeping your team together.
Well, as far as the text groups, I think it really helped us with The Sims because a lot of the times we had last minute decisions. And the text group actually made that really easy. Instead of shooting out emails or trying to schedule meetings, we were able to exchange information really quickly. Everybody was quick to respond, even though we had people working, we had some in, with issues that they had to take care of, family problems and such. So it made it a lot easier for us to communicate. And when we brainstormed, we were able to drop valid questions into the group, and you yourself were able to pick up and kind of like chime in and give us a lot of feedback instantly. So that really helped a lot.
Awesome. Well, the other thing Red Team did too, which the best teams always do, is that, and you organize the teams the way you want. This is all peer run. So, and peer reviewed, you get 190 points from your peers to each other. Much of your grade is working on the team. So please show up. It's important. But on the other hand, the how you organize is up to you. And what Dion did for his team, and the best teams do this, is they don't make everyone do all the work on their own on all these deliverables, participation and papers and presentations. They work as a team. This is a business sim, and all the rules are gone from your past courses. I don't want to see APA 7. I don't want to see 15 references talking on the Halo to someone else and saying, "Oh, I believe this, and here's 10 references." Don't waste your time. Talk about the sim. Talk about what's really going on. And if you're like Dion and they're great team, they break the presentations up into pieces, and each one of you will take a piece, you'll put it all together, and we ignore the similarity, turn it in AI, all this stuff. It's a business sim, and you all pitch in on it, and it makes the course a lot easier. And I mean, just give us a little feedback, Dion. I know I got to let you go here, but I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no, no, no. I mean, it was good. I mean, having, Ashley and Christopher and Esther on the team, they really made it very easy because everybody kind of took a role, which is, as you see, when we did the peer assessments, I kind of gave everybody a title because everybody took a specific role. Our financial advisor was Ashley. Chris handled management. He was on top of everything. He's like backtracking, reading through all the notes. Esther has a business background, so she was able to steer us and focus us. And then we were all going off of personal experience. So it really made things a lot easier to have those different groups and breaking everything up so that one person didn't get stuck with everything. And we took everybody's feedback, any input that we put that somebody had. It really made it a lot easier to collaborate like that.
Oh, that's awesome. And you have to understand this is just Dion doing all this. We do not give guidance or rules about the teams. We're all adults. And he suggested this, they put it together and it worked very, very well. Other teams are a little less functional, but you have to work together and text each other. I mean, we're officially a Christian school, but we're very diverse, which I love. And we have Islamic students, we have Jewish students, we have some people can't work religiously on a Friday, can't on a Saturday. They're Jewish, and some Christian people, some of us, regardless of background, don't want to work on Sundays. So, and also we have children. Some are active military. I've got two people in the Marines, one active right now in this class. So you have to really work together to say, and there's lots of the text that like I can't make it here, let's do this, and back and forth and kind of getting together on your Zoom. But all the teams amazing. It seems like it's impossible at this point, but Dion's a great example, and I have tons of texts going back and forth. Everyone's just being really courteous and loving to each other, and I've seen these team friendships go on for decades, for years. I've been doing this for a long time. People helping each other with jobs, opportunities. It's just like something you don't usually experience just in a class situation because it's really quite intense. The ground schools, I don't recommend this, but they're 10 weeks long. They have some mergers that we don't have in our 8-week course, but they get so competitive that they are posting disinformation on the post. Now we're a Christian school, so I don't say lie, but on the other hand, that's how intense the competition is and how fun it gets sometimes. So, Dion, I again just thanks again. And do you have any inputs on kind of making it all work and the schedules going and that stuff?
Well, thank you for having me again. As far as input, I would say I think everything kind of worked very well. I like the fact that we had the communication in the group. We had CLC section that we could communicate that way and share information. We also did a lot of emailing too. We sent each other different ideas so we could actually visually see it. We did the Zooms, the share screen. I think it was more about just having that time. So what we did is we set up time early in the week to brainstorm. And then as the week went on, we would follow up like on Thursday or Friday before our decision. We did a follow up. So I think that really helped a lot too, because it gave us time to like really think about it and process and decide if we were safe and comfortable with our decision. So
Oh, that's awesome. Well, and you just reminded me of something too. I sometimes I ask for questions, but people just don't even know what to ask yet. They don't even know what a slider is yet. You know, I mean, Dion's going to laugh at me, but it's kind of like, yeah, well, what is a slider? But the that's really important that there are many different. There's both mechanics and dynamics. The mechanics are how do you work the sim? What do we do? How we get it? What do we change? That's mechanics. Dynamics are what am I learning? How do we analyze the competition? What's the strategy? What are they doing? How do we engineer this line? Should, hey, look at they're doing this low cost, let's us go for image. All those decisions. It sounds overwhelming right now, but yeah, it's a perfect example that it ends up really good. They got above break even on all the lines. They did one of the best that any team's done in all four lines. And this is Michael Porter stuff. It's, you know, you got your dogs, your stars, your cows, and your question marks. So image is a great line, family is a great line, but you have to deal with eco. So all these trade-offs you see seem overwhelming, but believe it or not, as you can see right now, as the teams have ended up, all the teams are at break even. Red is much better because they did on some other lines and they won the sim. But when you see what you've inherited and what you have to do, it's a turnaround situation. So it can seem tough, but as Dion mentioned, CLCs, you have a logbook, you drop things in 3 times during the sim, and there's a lot of these little details that just don't worry about them. Ask me. I work with my validators. I'll work with you. This is not like a professor absent thing. I'm here for phone calls, for texts with you anytime, answers. Announcements are important. I put all the if Dion calls me and says, "Look," or we text, "I really got to know this. We're doing this, and we have a problem in this," and I tell him that I have to post it on. I am required to post it on announcements because I can't help one team and not help the other. So I put what I, but not everybody reads it. So if a validator and a team's asking a lot of questions, they're picking up a lot of good things and they're smart and they're adding these things. I can't break the sim. Nobody can. I mean, we professors, we compete with each other and we have winners and losers too. And you can't beat it. It's too complicated. There's too many turning dials and wheels on it. But I guess, Dan, what would you say, kind of including, in concluding, just sort of pace yourself? Or, I mean, how did you seem like you got through it after all this time?
mm-mm. Well, I appreciate that because to be honest with you, that was one of the key factors. I didn't really remember when you said that you would post the questions, but it was beneficial because we thought about these things, we asked the questions, and then when we saw it posted, I was like, wait a minute, he's posting our questions. But it was good because it kind of gave us time to reflect on it. We went back to the questions, we reread it, we went through it, and that kind of made us start looking in different directions. So as far as how we were able to do it, we kind of stayed the course. I know you told us early on, don't make big dramatic changes. So we would start with subtle changes one week and see where it went. So when we got the feedback, then we were able to move forward. Like, okay, well, this is where we messed up here. We could pull this back and then we can move here. And then we found out that it was split into 2 separate sections because we saw the engineering and then marketed at the bottom. And once we started playing with it a little bit, we were like, okay, we got a little bit more comfortable towards the end. So yeah, it
Awesome.
was definitely a
Awesome.
great experience all in all.
Awesome. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions before I let Dion go? I don't expect to have any because this is also new, but if you do, speak up. Okay. So we're good. Dion, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And we'll catch up with you on your final presentation tomorrow. So,
Thanks for having me, guys. Everybody
okay.
take care.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye-bye. All right, I'm going to share my screen now and show you what it is we're actually talking about on the sim. All right, let's do the whole screen. Let's optimize for video, optimize for sharing. And I'll take you through a few of these just to give you an example of what you're going to encounter. Let me see if it's going to let me do this. We got Zoom Workspace. Let me see if I can get this minimized. And if we can go over to here. Um, Now, I'm going to be showing you a few things from the actual sim, which and some results, which obviously are not your team because we're just now. And thank all of you for, by the way, for jumping in and registering. I finally got late last night, got to get the sim working and everything. So your teams are set up on the sim at Harvard. Everything's ready to go now. So I'll be opening it after this and after everyone else has a chance to watch video. But you've seen these announcements. I talk about announcements all the time because there's announcements all the time. These are results. You can see red going crazy, doing fantastic here in image. They're broke even here. Yellow crashed and burned in eco, which a lot of teams do. And you'll get this kind of feedback and announcements. You'll have our devotionals there. You'll have quick answers where people ask questions on, and whenever there's a text message, I repeat it here so you can see it. So this is not, if you're really used to async, look, here's a message. It says, you know, what are we putting our time in on the metrics and presentations? Do I need audio? Do I have video? And we get all these questions all the time these are all text questions we get. So you'll be seeing those in announcements throughout the whole course. Again, you have validators and they interface with me all the time if there's urgent questions on the text groups, but I'm here for everybody. Anyone can text me, call me. This is not the kind of, this is cohort peer learning. We're teaching each other. And all the research shows that you learn best by teaching. So when you're teaching what you're good at to your teammates, they're coming back and you're working together on it, and it just is a fantastic experience as you get towards the end of it. You will also see in announcements things that if you're used to the past CLCs, you'll see, well, I'll look at the beginning of every topic at announcements. That's not how this works. There's announcements going on all day, all the time, and don't miss them because if I say something to one team, you can pick that up for your team because it's competitive. And of course, you're not going to be posting things about what you're doing. You can just post about the experience. Now, on participation, I want to tell you many ways to make this course a lot easier. We're working adults. A lot of us have kids. We got, I've had goats and chickens and pets and all kinds of stuff, as well as full-time jobs. So since we're really busy, to make it less busy and to make it a lot easier, you work as a team. It helps you divide the projects up. This is business communications. I don't want to see if it says, this is a 1,200 word page with this and this. You don't have to do that. You get a pass because of the sim in this class. We have to have rubrics, you have to have benchmarks, but when you do the presentation, like the final presentation, but it's like, okay, I have all these graphics, all this stuff. I want to see something that's 6 to 7 minutes to a board of directors that you're pithy and you're not showing why you won or lost, you're showing progress. That's what matters. Look, we made progress. This is what I learned. This is the return on your investment for this course. It's like, wow, we saw this growth through the whole thing and we learned a ton just because we had our hands on the jet and we were flying it. So make sure you go there. Now, the other thing is in resources. Thank you all for getting this all done with class resources. You remember when we went there that this is how we get to the sim. We hit view resource and you were taken to Harvard then. And when you click that and you're taken to Harvard, you see, what do you see? You see this. You're the red team. And so it will start to show up. Now, it still doesn't because I just started this sim and I just got all the teams set up and so they're working. We had the teams in CLC already. You don't have to do your first decision until week 3. Week 2, next week after Monday, everyone's got to drop into CLC a form that says, yeah, I'm going to participate in the sim. That it sounds silly, but it's just an exercise in Tudis so you can see how the actual CLC works. And and we'll talk about this throughout. I'll post it. You'll see an announcement. I'll ask questions. Text me if you have any questions. I'll also post it. But what it means is that, first of all, under class resources, this is how you get in, but don't ignore these other things below here. There are all these videos about how it works. And you can assign, say, look, we need 4 videos over the next 3 weeks. Let's each of 4 of us take one video and then talk about it to each other. When you meet for your meetings, everyone has their own car line. One person has low costs, another person, I mean, you'll see what you inherited here, which is a turnaround situation, but one person will have a low cost, someone else will have family, someone will have eco, someone else will have image. You work out what you want to do for your decisions with those lines, and then you come together as a team and you decide as a team. I'm sorry, image, we can't spend that much on building a Ferrari, but we can do this. So you have to go back and forth and iterate back and forth like a real company, and you have to look at the financials. We'll look at just in a second, but don't ignore all these resources. First of all, on the left, where it shows you all of these videos you can watch. On top of that, there is what is there? There is this, which is Paul Waterman is our course lead here. He's almost as old as I am. You can tell I started Sims when the computers were powered by kerosene. You know, it goes way back to mainframes. Paul also, our course lead, is an old guy. And you'll see a lot of these videos before decision one, before decision two, before there's hundreds literally, but you can see this is what is the simulation. Check this out, and it shows you that. There's also another site on this is just the channel content. So this is at Model Sim Professor. There'll be links to that and videos that help you before each decision. There's some like, what is a slider? I don't know what a slider is. You don't even know what these decisions are. There's a lot of videos to watch, and also then there's the guide itself. There's this. It was written. You know, you'll see that there's where it says strategy guide here. Hit Ireland is the main strategy book for all MBA courses. This is Paul wrote this guide based on Hit Ireland, and you don't need to go buy Hit Ireland. This works fine, but also got all kinds of cheats and tricks and hints. There's a student cheat sheet, and when you go to the different topics, remember on the right side there's other things. Here's your strategy guide again. Here's your mission and vision. When you see all these required things, I shouldn't say this on open video, it's just to get you to look at it. I'm not asking you to go through as a working adult doing the sim and do all this stuff that says required. You just have to know that it's here, okay? And we're not doing research in this course to say, okay, venture capitalists, according to Bandura in 2024, self-efficacy is what's going to make this mission work. We're not doing that kind of stuff. This is a business communication class. It's really learning how to fly the jet in a real business. And that all applies then to what you're doing here. Class introductions, you know, okay, 0 points. Some of these decisions look like they're 0 points, but it's a relay run. You have to get into those decisions because it's adding up to your peer reviews and other, it's very back end weighted, the points in this class. You'll see the final presentations, papers, and all that. But it's not daunting as you make these decisions, post about them, and I'll give you tons of opportunities. If I answer a question in a post on Halo, anyone can answer that or do a couple sentences. The participation stuff happens in the sim when you're meeting with your classes or especially when you're texting. You know, there are a few Zooms you have to get together to combine, but a lot of it is texting or in CLC. You'll see in CLC now, let's see, let me see if I can find the groups. We have class introductions. Oh, is this actually you or this? No, I'm not. I need to find. Well, anyway, you need to look on the right too. In topic two, for instance, I think we have the logbook, which is starting next week. Let's see. Well, we got some pre-learning, educating, trading, and then you'll see yeah, then we've got the logbook. What the logbook is that, let me see if I can go to the group, one of the groups here. Okay, this is agreement form assignment. This is next week. You're going to be asked to drop this um, into your group. So these are the students that are there in the group, and you'll see that in each of the topics that each of you have your own CLC where you can go and you can visit for each topic. What the logbook is that all you do in the CLC, you can communicate, there's a chat there, you can talk, but you're really doing it by text. And some of the teams use it, some don't. But all you have to do every group time in CLC is drop, and this is only for 3 decisions, you drop what's called the annex, which is just a summary of what you did. It can take 10 minutes and you can all work on it. So there's very little work that goes on in the actual CLC. Where it really goes and it says decisions is at Harvard. You click on that review resource and you go there, and that's where it all happens. So when you go there, let me see if I can find this again. You start with this landing page. And obviously, you don't have all these decisions, and you can see how in this universe, I have a lot of different universes. You know, we do hundreds of these. You'll see that maybe red started on top, and then all of a sudden, yellow took over and blue won. You know, there's each of these are decisions, and you'll see that it goes up and down and changes as you see what competitions do and what your customers do, and you make new decisions. They happen to be, there are six indicators that tell whether you win or lose this: the value of your shares, employee morale, retained earnings, ROCE, revenue, and then emissions. I have my traditional ROCE hat on because I'm really into return on capital employed. It's doable. You can get it below that deep down where it is now, um, and do well. Not everyone does, but you can. It's possible. Accumulated retained earnings, very hard because this is a turnaround situation and it makes it a lot more difficult to actually make that kind of progress. Let me see. I can find our gem universe and let's take a look at not that one. Let's see what Jim inherited. All right, this is your universe. This you won't be able to see until we unlock the sim, get you into your first decision. But this is what you're going to find when you first start the sim. Everybody's equal. Your revenues are all the same. Your EBIT's all the same. Your CapEx is all the same. And this is what you inherited in EBIT. Your low cost line and your eco lines are bleeding money. You're doing okay in family, pretty good, but in not as good an image. So here we are with Porter's portfolio management theory. You're inheriting a turnaround. You're not expected to make a huge amount of money. Some teams by the last decision are all way above and top and just create a flywheel. They figure it, they learn it, and they see how to do it. They see how everything works. That's very rare. I mean, usually if you can just get the break, even if you're doing well, you're doing really well. And well, as an example, let me see if I can do that. Get rid of this. Let's look at this decision one. All right, so here's wow, this sometimes we have seven teams, eight, nine, 10, 3, 4, 5, whatever. I've had teams as small as six people where I had to be on one where we only had three with two each. But you have good five, 6 member teams. But you'll see that in this case, like in the second decision, by this time, Red was doing really well. They turned around, especially low cost is hard to do. Eco is impossible. Almost everybody dies here in eco, and they still are. You know, these teams are still underwater, but you have enough above water that you're still positive territory and you're turning yourself into a winning team. You can see it's kind of neck and neck between purple and red here because purple is doing really, really well in image here. So again, these are just, this is going to sound all like Greek to you. And if it doesn't sound like you're following it, don't feel bad because this is all brand new. Now, what is the mechanical process? And what is a validator? My validators, all you have to do, I mean, you do a lot of work with the course and coordinating and working with me, and I appreciate you. But what your job, the main job is you click on validate, and it comes up with a pane here. Now, this has already been validated, but it will show you various results, cash flows, and then if you say send your session, are you ready? That means you validated, you're done, it's closed, you've made your decisions, it's locked. So the one thing I will start out with here is you have cash at the beginning and cash at the end. If you run out of cash, you lose the sim and it all crashes and burns. So I don't allow that to happen. I do a long-term loan to start with. Some people pay their loans off, other people don't. They have leverage, but I make sure you don't run out of cash. But you cannot validate if you're negative cash. So if you can have low AREs or low ROCEs, but you can't be out of cash. So what you do is you iterate back and forth between these decisions. So we'll start with, if we go to the main place you're going to go on the sim, all of you, is there's corporate and business lines under decisions. You go to business lines, and the first thing that you're going to find is that you have decisions to make. These are sliders, the infamous sliders. As it'll start, you'll be all down the middle here, and you'll reduce some for some lines and increase some for others. So up at the top, you'll see here's your 4 lines: low cost, family, eco-friendly. And you're going to say, what is all this stuff for? This white line is to save your life. This is how teams don't have to crash and burn because the white line shows you what the customers want. This isn't a time series. These are the things you're deciding on how you design your cars. design, performance, comfort, etc. What the cheat sheet will show you is that I'll give you an example. I'll give you a cheat right now. In family does not care about things like as much as image does, like performance. Okay, if you do it a huge high performance things on family, image. Let's go down to car dealerships. Here's marketing. Car dealership proximity is only on 5. Image doesn't care. If you're going to buy a Ferrari, you'll drive to LA to buy it, or whatever, because you don't have a Ferrari dealer on every corner. Family, let's look at family here, and let's go down to marketing and look at the marketing side. Whoops, where's marketing? Marketing for, okay, now they're at 9, so they're much higher than this on the last decision because they dropped off to make some money, but the low cost didn't care as much about it. They're at 3. Let's go back to there, and this should be about 5. All right, that's on 5, and these are about the same. So you can see how they're underspending a little or overspending, and that's the same thing with engineering here. Engineering is your R&D. Now, you go through these, you look at the sliders, and you make your decisions for each line. Each of you decide what you want to do, and then you go back, and then you iterate back and forth to your budget. Every time you make a change, let me go to the value change here, value chain. Every time you make a change in something, you see CapEx per unit. How much are you spending on your plant? If you go way up, if you take a slider and you go, I don't want to ruin anybody's universe, but as you start to change these, it starts to spend more money. You saw CapEx go there. Engineering and consumption affect CapEx, all these decisions you make, and your unit cost. So capital CapEx, and you're going to see lost orders over inventory. You have to match your supply to your demand. That's really important. So when you look at these decisions here and you say, okay, now let's jump over, that's the value chain. We looked at the value, we set them, and now we're going to jump to the budget. And you'll see, what did this do? And this is the budget for each car line. And you can see, am I losing or making money? Is every unit of extra revenue losing or making money? And if you're in finance and you're contributing finance to your team, make sure that you don't go just for revenue. Revenue is great, it'll help employee morale, but if every one you sell, you are losing money, your EBIT's going to crash. So focus on EBIT and make sure that you're making profitable sales and your unit cost is under control. And all this sounds too much right now, but you'll see that it's much easier. I'll give you lots of hints and tips, and mainly don't make any really big changes. Don't change your price from, they're all, let's see, where's my price? 60? Yeah, if we've got 60 here, don't change it to 80. It's very high elasticity. You make a too little change and you have demand drop down to nothing. And these are all in the student guide, the student cheat sheet. If you read those, and you got 2 weeks to read those before your first decision, to check out those. And you can pick someone on your team, have a team meeting, and say, you do this, you do that, you do that, and then let's all get together on text groups. So we looked at decisions and we looked at business lines. And then as you iterate back and forth and see what did your decisions do to your budget, you jump over to corporate and you'll see, okay, what happened to our entire company based on that? What happened, especially to cash? Are we out of cash? And if you have no cash available, this is actually obviously a winning team. If this is at -3, it won't validate. You got to go back and defeature some of your things, because if you add something to engineering, which is basically R&D, then you'll see it's going to increase CapEx. And there's a formula on Biz 485. Let's go to Biz 485. biz45.com. This is a site I built just for you. Okay, this is an old Opal team. Let's go to, how do you ace the class? Let's go to ace the class. I also have on YouTube, there are like 100 slides in 15 minutes. It's all the slides you can go through and look at kind of any financials you need to make in 15 minutes. This is just another thing you can go on without having to read all these readings and look at the slides. And if you need an answer, I'll refer you to it. I'll say, okay, why is my supply and demand so off? Why are my lost orders over inventory so terrible? Well, lost orders over inventory, what it is we have this is a return ROCE. Let's see here's lost orders over inventory. Okay, this is your most important indicator of all. At zero, it means I have no inventory building up to the top and no lost orders down to the bottom. I'm where my supply and demand match at zero here. When you start this sim, this is kind of an ending period one where everyone was trending towards zero because they figured this out. In America, as we do accounting, as my accounting people know, a sale is a delivery. So you have orders and you have sales. If you have these amount of orders, you've done a great amount of engineering and you've done some marketing, but you did not build your plant enough to make that many, and you sold 100 cars and you could only make 40. You wasted all this money because those are lost orders and they don't come back next period. Each period is 1 year. The next year, topic two, topic three, topic four, you're building inventory, you've lost that money. So the game here, the game um, intelligence of it is to look at these LOIs and see if you can't get them down the middle by every time you make an engineering decision, make sure your CapEx isn't going crazy, but also make sure you're building enough cars. So it's a trade-off. Am I not building enough so that I'm going to have this terrible red line, or am I going to be right on the zero line like yellow was here and I met my supply and demand totally? And by the end of the sim, you'll have this down dead. Everybody be trending towards the zero because you'll have learned how to do this. But also then you say, well, gosh, coach, how do I know what formula do I use? Well, the formula is right here. You have to say, what is your initial capex per unit? How many do I need? I forecast the next period, and the formula is right here. It's you just take your what's your first capacity, what's the change in capacity A minus B, and you add back depreciation because obviously depreciation is not cash. So that gives you the idea of how much money do you need next period to invest in your facility to make that many cars that you want. So you can get into derivatives and calculus and do spreadsheets on what ifs in Excel and pivot tables. You don't need to. Four function math is enough. I promise. Add, subtract, multiply, divide is enough to do really well. If you keep your decisions kind of, moderate, you don't go too crazy on your decisions and you don't move those sliders too far. So again, these are just resources that you have to look at on the videos as well as on, let's see if I can get my share screen back up here and go back to, all right, let me find our sim again. So we've gone to corporate, we've looked through that. Now you also have markets, and it's not just what does your customer want, it's also what are your competitors doing? So under market, you have my competitors here, so you can look what the competitors are doing in each line, and you can get a market overview here, and you can look at orders and sales and costs and what's going on with your competition in each line. And we made this publicly traded, so you can see this. On top of that, because it's a short course, it's only 8 weeks, it's not the 10, it's no merger and acquisitions, there's no international, you can't close plants, there's a lot of other things that happen in the ground school. I give you a lot more. I'm accused of spoon feeding sometimes, but it's like, look, I'm not going to make you crunch a bunch of numbers when you're meeting and making decisions, you're busy working. I'm going to give you a ton of data. I do a recap video at the end of every decision. You'll see all the old ones back on the channel on Model Sim Professor if you want. But if you're, working hard, you're doing your decisions, you'll get a detailed, and all these things aren't just to say, okay, we need all this information in that decision. It's for your final papers and presentations. I'm handing you what you need to get an A in this class by just repeating and saying, here's what we did, the decisions we made, and the whole goal of this sim is progress. And so tell me where you went wrong and tell me where you made progress. And you've done it. You've learned it. You've got a return on your investment from your sim. Done fantastic. And that's what we're trying to do here is just, not we're trying to win. Yeah, it's fun to win, but also we have to learn the indicators and what happens with each one of those indicators. And it starts with ready, fire, aim. We don't know everything yet, especially on the, as Dan said in the first decision. What do we know? We haven't like even made it yet. So let's jump back to one other thing before we close here. Got our markets, we got our company, and we've got our dashboard. And on this dashboard, You land here and then you jump everywhere else, okay? These are the indicators, but there is one thing I want to tell you you need to look at, and that is the financial indices. You can look at emissions, all this other stuff, it's going to change, but everything is tied to everything else you'll learn. And the cheat sheets show you this. In like, let's say employee morale. If your revenue is really low, you'll have lower morale because they're going to go get a Coke at the bar or whatever they have after work and say, I can't stand this. I'm not going to recommend this car to my sister because it keeps breaking down. You know, your morale, it's got to do with quality of your vehicle. The other thing, be careful of is when you do your mission and your strategy, the good Lord loves the green earth. We need to take care of it. We need Mama Earth. We need to take good care of her. However, if you're going to be, your main thing is going to be, we're going to be the best thing in eco ever done, and you make a million eco cars, your emissions will go way higher than any image car does because you have so many of them out there. So it's non-linear, it's counterintuitive. So don't everybody, lots of people early on get killed in eco because they have good hearts. Eco is a loss leader for the first two and three decisions. Back off your plant. Don't put a lot of money into low cost and really do well to start with an image and family. Those are your cash cows. Get your revenue going, get your profit up before you then can move your portfolio over to new and upcoming stars and question marks of low cost. And you know, you don't have to be everything to everyone. We can't close a plant here, but we can defeature one. We cannot make a lot of inventory and not do a lot of marketing and engineering and just make fewer cars. So that way, that's a way that now your morale will go crazy if you get the plant so low that nobody can do any work. But if it helps your revenue, the other thing is you're going to learn all about marginal cost, and there's a lot of feedback that you'll get on every one of those indicators. I'll be giving you those as these as we proceed and the sim kind of goes forward. Let me see if I can stop the share here because we're running out of time. That is just a very quick, short overview. There are a lot of little details in the sim that you'll learn as you go along. And as far up to speed as you want to be in 2 weeks from now, at work three, when it all starts, is up to each of you and your teams. But there is only one way to do bad in this class and to fail, and that's not show up for your team meetings. You've got to be a team player in this course because your peers grade you, you grade each other, and it's a lot of fun. And the truth is that you learn a lot more because you each bring your own skills to it. We're all adults in this class, and it's not like, you know, we had someone here who's never had a job before. That's what I love, why I love the whole non-trad. I had a young woman, she was 35, everyone's young to me, who was the CFO of a county in Florida. She's teaching me things about easily about some of these indicators. So if you're good at accounting, help your team at the accounting of it. But I do not expect any of you as working adults with children, active duty military, all this stuff to model all this stuff in Excel. You know, if you want to do it and try it and that's something you add to your team, go ahead. But I'm going to be giving you everything you really need. And probably the most important takeaway on this is that this is nothing like any course you've ever taken before, especially with CLC. And it's also not one of those courses where you see your professor like once at the beginning, once at the end. I am totally here for you. And if you have any questions, text me. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Arizona, you know, whatever. We've got people, I've got, I don't know if my Guam student is here or not, but we've got an active duty military in Guam. And now that's a really different time zone and difference. But the work together, text each other like crazy as you go forward. And just ask me if you have a question like this week, we're getting towards the end tomorrow participation, right? You've all done posts, we've done IO, we've done resource, we've done outside resources, some of the strategy guide stuff. I'm spending a lot more of my time on the sim right now because we're coming up to that decision and there's a lot for you to be ready for before you do the first decision. But I'll be jumping back in. I'm going to be answering your questions. Say, answer with this one sentence. I don't need, you know, all the rubrics you see about posts and stuff, ignore them. If it says it has to be 250 words or whatever, you have to have something significant. You have to have a research thing at the bottom. Don't do any of that. You're already participating in your teams on Zoom and texting. The text groups count. So if you have to make you get the Saturday light tonight and you haven't participated and you need four more, do four more, but do four sentences on what you learned about the sim. Tell me if you missed and you're busy and you had a sick child, say, in the meantime, I just watched a video while I was caring for my child. Post that and I'll give you credit for it. So the usual things you see if you've worked everybody's through their 4 years. This is your last class you have to take to graduate. Some people do it in year three. So, and I also have some MBA students that end up taking it. So I have kind of a mix here. But what does happen is that I cut you a lot more slack. And the one thing I always get in the class intros, because everybody's honest, is that I don't know how I'm going to do this. I've got all this stuff, and now you're telling me I got a sim on top of it. I got to do texting with my team. That's where you get ease. That's where it really helps you because you help each other through the whole thing. And I do not expect you to do a 1,200-page paper. I expect you to do three paragraphs and someone else does three and someone else does two and you do a PowerPoint, you throw the whole thing in together. Now, in CLC, there's two things you got to be careful of. And I'll keep telling you this all along, but I want to tell you right now. If it says benchmarked, you do have to turn it in individually. But here's the difference. If it says it's a 1,200-page paper, or 1,200 word paper, and you've got to turn individual, ignore that. Your team's going to you'll work on your part of it, they'll all, and you all turn in the same paper, even on benchmark, but you have to turn it in individually. On CLC, you can turn in one paper for everybody. So it works a little differently because benchmarks are individual things. Now, if there are individual things, as we get to the end of this course, there's a big trick, and I'll just give it away right now. It ends up being about your personal life. It ends up being about your personal strategy. What is your strategy for your career? What have you learned here that's not going to just help you with running a business, which you do here, but also your own personal decisions, your strategy, your mission, your love of God, whatever it is that drives your life. How does this happen? Well, that's really personal. So if you don't want to share that, do your own paper. If you're that tight with your team by that end, you all know each other. You've already told me a lot about you in introductions, and I will not share anything that's told to me on an email or something. But if you put in something on a post or whatever, good, you're sharing that with your team and do it. So be honest. Just say, this is what I want to do. I want to run a business. I really love like I love my goats, and I have a student to the left that just started a farm, and she's running her own farm. She has goats and chickens and everything else, and I love dogs and cats, and I have a parrot who's probably screaming right now. But so put that in as part of your strategy. This is what I'm going to do, and then but do it as a group and turn the whole same thing in, if you want to. Again, you are teaching each other. This is a pure class. It's the new type of learning, and there's hundreds of stories on my Doctor of Education side. I'm studying this all day. That us teaching ourselves and teaching others are the best way to learn. So you're all teachers in this class. You're all teaching each other. We're all adults. You're bringing accounting knowledge. You're bringing marketing knowledge. You've run businesses. You're an office manager. You've done things, and that you have to bring to it. So bring that to your team and do it. I'm not going to sit here acting like I know how to run your business. Your team is your business. Each of you are a CEO of your own car line. Pick low cost, pick image. I'll tell you, low cost is is hard to you have to keep the cost low, but you can't add too much engineering. Family is wonderful. A lot of us have families, and family wants a bigger car. They want something that's not a gas guzzler, but it doesn't have to be as low as the eco. So family's a good thing to invest in. Don't go too hard on either of the sliders to begin. Don't go way up and don't way increase your price. Also, if you see inventory building, this is co-opetition. It's not just competition. So if you're at 120 bucks for an image car, 120,000, whatever you want to call it, these are probably euros. If you're at 120, and you want to go to 121 and make a little profit, go for it. If you want to go to 119, a lot of my teams just look at each other, and you can't text each other. That's antitrust. That's why you're not in the same text group. You can't say, okay, here's what we're doing. You want to do this? Let's do this. You take that line, I'll take that line. But you can do that by looking at the results. You can say, wow, I can really see blue teams really pushing here. Family's what they want, and we're doing really good in image. Let's go there. Let's build a flywheel in image. Jim Collins, if you read any books on flywheels, you get that revenue things going. And all it is basic economics. Above break even, it's like printing money in the basement, every added revenue. Below, it's like sucking air through your carburetor instead of fuel. You lose money so fast. So you want to get to that break-even point, and then you can step on the accelerator with marginal cost and move that up. And that's, it's just meeting the trend. And you'll see this is all very dynamic. All the gears turn together, and no one ever has ever understood the sim, including 12-year veteran. I mean, I've been doing this since I don't even want to tell you how long, how old I am, but back with Michael Porter himself at Harvard, I did the first one on a mainframe. So I've been doing Sims forever. Our course lead, Paul Waterman, you'll meet him on a lot of the videos. He and I did a lot of these videos together. Is just a genius. 12 years of doing this at GCU. He brought it to the school. We're cutting edge as a school in this with all the other schools competition. You're in a very elite group here. And I've had students say, I didn't buy to go to Harvard. Why are you giving me Harvard stuff? It's like, no, no, no. You guys are good. Don't you get it? Don't you are Harvard College. Wait till you get to the end of this course. You'll see it's many students have never experienced this. But Paul himself says, I totally don't get it. I don't understand. I can't say I could beat the sim. And when we do it, we do a little better just because of experience, but still, there's no way you can bust it. There's too many gears turning. You can never bust it. And it's the same thing with business. You can build a great company. I worked many years at GE Healthcare to watch General Electric fall apart. At one of the biggest countries in the world, crashed and burned. Healthcare did okay, thank you, Lord. But a lot of the divisions went away. So you can have the biggest company and still mismatch your pipeline. And I don't care if you're in dog grooming, okay? I've been in services business too. You still need these lessons. It's like, wait, there's no CapEx in grooming. Oh, yes, there is. Google was a pure service company, right? Strategy wise, they got to about year three with the search business. And suddenly Wall Street started asking about CapEx. And they're like, well, we don't need it. We don't have capital equipment. We're a services company. And they're like, you don't have a strong enough balance sheet. And they're like, oh my goodness. And they started buying companies. They bought one after another. Four out of five, like you'll see in the mergers, invest and acquisition section, were fell apart. They were doing really bad, and it looked like Google wasn't going to make it at a certain point because of these acquisitions and the CapEx side of it. What someone finally figured out, and there's recent books on this, the value proposition, the value equation. Guy in Arizona wrote the book that CapEx and cash are absolutely tied together. So Google had to start buying server farms. They had to start investing in their own infrastructure more to get the balance sheet to work and then get the turns to work and the marginal profit to work. So you're going to see the balance sheet and P&L work together strongly here. I've been in marketing in the past. I was venture capitals for a while. I was CEO of a billion-dollar company. Obviously, I'm old and falling apart at this point, but I've funded a lot of companies, and I've seen really that the pipeline and the portfolio are everything, and that's what you're learning here. You're really seeing what happens with these different lines when we differentially choose to market or to augment the marginal revenue or marginal cost on these products. And if you're in marketing, I know you know this, you've seen it probably, but a lot of younger students think, oh, I slept through accounting and finance. I don't care. I'm not going to do accounting and finance. That does not work. Your career is going to be absolutely skyrocketed if you just understand the basics of how the finance part of this works. Because marketing now is, even with AI and all that stuff going on, finance is still absolutely key. You have to understand what is driving this and why did I make that decision and why should I have made a different decision. And this is sort of the school of hard knocks. The sim will tell you that. Luckily, it's not real, and you can still get an A plus plus in the class if you crash and burn, and I have to add money to it at the end. Still, if that last presentation says, I'm eating humble pie, we were the losing team, but look at what we would have done different, and look what I learned from this. And then look, by the way, I won in these three parameters. I did do great in emissions, and part of our strategy was Mother Earth, and I did this and this and this, and this is what I would have changed. The key word is progress. The same thing for our spirits. Nobody's perfect. We all try, but if we make a little progress every day, hey, we're doing well because we're building on it. So don't worry as you get towards the end of this and you get into decisions. If you have some stepping back to step forward, because that's just a great opportunity to learn and then tell me about the progress you made on the next time. So that is it. We're at the end of our hour. Thank you so much for your patience and for taking part and all that good stuff. Are there any questions? I don't expect any, but if there are, I'm here for you. And if you don't have any, text me. You've got my text. I'm going to keep on going on the text groups and tell you what's happening. And just remember on the participation and that kind of stuff, just do a couple sentences on what I texted you on or answer one of my questions to one of the other students. Don't sweat the participation, but do it. Make sure you have 6 because I don't want people losing points because it's auto graded. So make sure you do your participation like you have in the past. But wink and nod, you're really participating as you do with these teams, and you're going to get credit for that. You all get 20 per, everyone who attended gets 20 points, plus my one student that is Jewish who couldn't because it's Saturday. And all the rest of you don't lose any points, but you can watch the video, and I will see you in Halo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach C. Have a good one.
All right.
God bless.
All right, thank you, sir.
God bless you. Take care.
Thank you.